Welcome to the Hitch List, a podcast for wedding lovers, planners, and party people. I'm your host, Abby, a seasoned event vendor who wants to spill the champagne on what really goes on behind the scenes. From the planning stage to the final send-off, I'm diving into everything events with the industry's most seasoned vets. We'll talk about brides, grooms, planners, parties, vendors, and the wild stuff no one tells you about. Whether you're planning your dream day, you're knee-deep in vendor contracts, or working in the industry, I've got the tips, tea, and timeline talk to keep you sane. This is the Hitch List, where we can plan, party, and celebrate every detail. Hey friends, thanks for joining us for another episode of The Hitch List, where we get you hitched without a hitch.
That's cute.
For today's episode, I have Bailee here with Divine Design Co. She is a wedding photographer and content creator. Bailee, tell us about yourself, how you got started in the industry, all the things.
Hi guys, I'm Bailee Brick, as she said. I'm the owner of Divine Design Co. I am also, like she said, a photographer and a wedding content creator. I do offer wedding photography, but I mainly like to focus with couple photography and having that on the side. I started doing this about a year and a half ago after I had my 1-year-old. Before I started this, I offered website design under the same name, and it was just something that I kind of wanted to have on the side while I was working as a server, and just something that kind of just gave me more fulfillment. And then after I got pregnant, my pregnancy went south really quick, and it ended up being a very traumatic experience. I took a step back from the website design and just was like, I just don't know if that's just what is fulfilling me in that season of my life. It was July of 2024 when I kind of took a step back from my business, and I deactivated it all. I didn't remove any of my content and stuff. I was just kind of stepping away from it. I just didn't know if that's really where God wanted me to be. And September, October of 2024, I went to my husband and I was like, I just kind of want to get back into the swing of things. I want to have something that brings me value and meaning. And I mean, yes, working in the serving industry does that, but when you've been doing it since you were 16 for the past 10, 15 years, it just gets to the point where it's just this isn't really where I want to be anymore. Mm-hmm. And I was always, my dad always kind of picked up a camera. He wasn't, a photographer or anything, but, I remember growing up and, always having that. Anytime I needed my senior pictures done or family events or holiday pictures, it was, let's just set the camera up on the tripod and, take them ourselves, you know? So I was always kind of around, the photo setting. I'd picked up a camera here and there, but it wasn't something I was this is what I'm supposed to do, you know? Mm-hmm. It just never really dawned on me that was what was gonna bring me fulfillment. And so it didn't start out that way. In October, I was you know what, I want to do something. I want to have it where I'm still able to give Amelia the attention that she needs. And for me being I've stayed home ever since, you know, so me being able to stay home with her and still bring in another part of income was super important. But it wasn't something that I really wanted to be tied down to mm-hmm. with the website stuff. And so in October, I started kind of doing research, and I'm a phone girly through I know it's a hot topic, but it's just I like being on my phone. It's probably not great, but you know, when you turn that into a business, you turn something that could be negative into a positive, you know. So in October, I was that's kind of where I'm at. I had not really thought about the photography side of things yet. I'd seen a lot of people, not in Mississippi, but like in Tennessee, it was super big. Maybe in Florida a little bit, but when I started, like, it really still wasn't like super like drawn out, you know, like it wasn't something that you saw posted a whole bunch. So when I posted, I didn't really think anything was really going to come out of it, to be honest with you. Like,
maybe this will be something fun.
I didn't really, like, I really didn't have high hopes for it, because I was like, this sounds like, I don't know if the Gulf Coast is going to, like, be about this. So when I posted, and looking back now, I was like, I don't know, like, I'm thankful for the people that, like, took the time to, like, invest in me in that time, but I was like, I really should have thought that out a lot more than what I did, because when I posted, I opened up, like, it started out at 5 slots, and then it ended up 10, and I was like, oh, like, this is working good, you know, so I'm gonna, like, make some money from this. But when I originally, like, posted and, like, started doing it, I opened up the slot at just $150 for, like, 6 to 8 hours of a wedding day. I was like, and now, like, looking back and, like, working the weddings and stuff, and, like, I'm thankful for me, like, doing that, because I really did meet a lot of, like, incredible brides, and a lot of those people that did book me so early on, like, I have friendships with them now. Like, I really was able to connect with them, like, in a, like, because I was learning just like anybody else was,
right,
you know, and yeah, like, from the outside looking in, like you said, like, before we started talking, like, with the whole, like, how can you, like, just video on the phone and, like, charge so much, you know, but, like, it really does, like, go more.
You've learned more about your value as you've grown in your business, which I think any successful business owner, you should be.
Yeah.
Growing and learning and understanding your worth as you progress. So I
and with,
get
like,
that.
the whole, like, 150 thing, like, my husband was not, like, thrilled about that, because, like, it had started out with me just doing, like, a promo, and then next thing I knew, I was like, oh, I have 10 brides booked at this price, you know, and a lot of the people that did book under that promo ended up, like, either adding more hours, or they tipped at the wedding,
right,
you know, like, it was like,
they recognize,
yeah,
okay, I got a deal on this girl, and she's worth more than what I paid.
yeah. And so it ended up being something good. And a few of them, I did have a few, like, cancellations, but even, like, through the cancellations, like, I was able to fill those spots, and ended up being able to charge, like, kind of what I, like, charge now under those dates. So, like, that helped. But with the whole, like, wedding content side of things, like, when I, like, originally, like, started, like, I don't know if it's just, like, your phone, like, hears what you say, and then once it, like, hears you, like, it kind of, like, shows all these things that you didn't see before. But when I originally, like, started, like, I was so dead set that, like, oh, like, I'm the only one on the Gulf Coast that does this, you know? And it wasn't, like, an arrogant thing, but it was, like, that's just how I felt, you know? I was just,
you were
like,
seeing other businesses market that service.
And I was, like, this, and for a little bit, I was, like, maybe this is why, like, it's, like, I'm kind of doing as well as I am, is, like, oh, like, maybe it is something that, like, isn't offered. And granted, like, there are a few that I have met, like, recently in the past, that, like, are based in Mississippi or Alabama or whatever, and, like, serve, like, the same, like, area as I do, but it wasn't, like, it really didn't feel like it was something that was as popular as it is now. And I feel like the reason why, like, it is so popular now is just, like, the generation's different, you know? Like, people, they enjoy being able to, and granted, like, I didn't have this when I got married in 2023. I don't know if it was just something that I just didn't think of, and me and my husband, we were on a budget. We wanted to stay under, like, the 10K mark. I hired a photographer for 6 hours. I I got great pictures back, but my photographer ended up leaving, like, before our exit, and it was just, like, the wedding day was just, like, super tough. Like, it was already so stressful, and we were already behind. I remember we agreed to do a first look for, like, the aspect of, like, having all of our pictures done before, like, the ceremony started, and ended up not being that. We ended up taking, like, an hour and a half, still having to do pictures even after having that. Like, it was just a very, very hectic day, and one thing that we did not invest in was a videographer. And looking back, like, yes, like, you see those moments in pictures, but, like, it does something to you, like, when you're able to watch it back, because, like, your brain, like, yes, you're always going to remember it, but, like, what was said, you know, like, how did that person react, like, you know, like, what happened. And so now, like, one of the things that I always try to, like, tell all of my clients when it comes to, like, booking a wedding content creator is, yeah, like, having a videographer is nice, and, like, having the photographer is nice, and that's something that, like, you always should invest in, and you're going to get different aspects from both of those, but being able to leave your wedding, like, with a full gallery and full camera roll, and being able to, like, look back on that, like, when you go on your honeymoon, or, like, because the day is a whirlwind. Like,
it is.
I literally, like, when I got married, I remember a good bit of it, but, like, the main thing that I remember is just leaving, you know, like,
from the planner's perspective, like, that's something that I try to be really intentional with my couples, is the value of your planner, the value of all of your vendor team is to take the stress off of you so that you can be as present as possible, because it is one of the biggest days of your life. It always will be, whether everything goes wrong or everything goes right. It is one of the biggest days of your life. It will go by in a flash. We need to do everything possible, more than you would think, to make sure that you're present.
Yeah. And you plan, and from, like, some, like, obviously
anticipation gets you to that point. Like, it's a lot.
And it's just, when you're, like, in the planning mode, you're like, oh, like, this day is going to go off without a hitch, you know, like, it's going to be great. And then you get there, and it's just, like, not every bride is like this, but, like, personally, myself, I was so stressed out on my day. Like, it was just, it felt like...
Did you have a planner or a coordinator?
I had a day of coordinator, but she had found out that she was pregnant and was very, very sick, and she was great. She was one of the... I don't know what I would have done without her. Like, but she was going through it.
Yeah.
And it was really, really tough.
That happens, I mean...
And so, it was just, I don't know. It was a lot. Like, and that's another thing, like, when I come back to the content, like, when we woke up the next day, like, we had sneaks. We had, like, a 24-hour sneak with a few pictures, but, like, we didn't have anything to look back on. You know, like, you're
texting all your friends, hey, send me pictures if you took any.
And it's just, like, and then you wonder, like, okay, like, yes, you want to be present and your phone wants to be away, but, like, why didn't so-and-so, like, grab stuff, you know, or why didn't, like, you know, like, it's just, like, you get into a period of, like, oh, I'm just going to designate somebody to do that. And I've had a few brides that they've, like, said that, and I've had to, like, come back and be like, look, like, especially when it comes to a bridal party, and everyone's different, but, like, from my perspective, like, if you have someone in your bridal party that you care about, and that person is, like, a part of your day, whether it be a maid of honor or a bridesmaid.
Don't ask them to work.
Don't. Like, you want them to be present with you just as much as they want to be present with you. Because, like, they wouldn't have said yes if they didn't, like, want to stand, like, by your side, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, when you put them in a position to be like, hey, like, you're my bridesmaid, but, like, I want you to, like, be on your phone all day and capture all these moments for me, you know? And, like, yes, like, some people, like, do agree and are good with that, but when I tell them from that perspective,
when you,
like,
bring that to the forefront of their mind.
they're like, oh, like, you're so right, you know? Like,
that's one of my biggest selling points for coordination services at a minimum, is the point is that you're not asking
other people to do it.
Other people to work on your wedding day. The people that you love and know and care about and that you're inviting to be a part of your day, whether that's wedding party family or just a guest.
Yeah.
As soon as you designate them a working role of some kind, they are now focused on that task because they understand the importance of a wedding day, and they know that them doing that job will cause things to either go right or wrong. And so that's anxiety, that's putting that burden on them versus, okay, no, I've paid this professional a fee to perform this job. They know what they're doing. They can handle it.
That's like another thing. Like, I'm going to be shooting in Tennessee at Howell Farms for like photography, and I booked this bride like, it's been a minute. I found her through a Facebook group, and she's become like one of my closest friends. Like, it doesn't even feel like it's a job anymore. And that's the kind of people that you like want to hire. I know not everyone like kind of feels that way, and every like dynamic of a wedding day is different. But when it comes to me personally, like, I want them to know like, oh, I can come to you about this, and this. You know, like, yes, it's different for everyone. Some of my brides, like, I don't talk to until the month of, you know, and there's other ones that I talk to every day, you know, and I feel like that is something that, like, kind of makes me stand out from other people. And, yeah, it might be like, well, you have all this time on your hands because you're a stay-at-home mom. Well, also, like, I value the time.
The connection.
And I know, like, from my perspective, like, I didn't have that. I didn't have, like, the vendors that checked in, you know. It was just like, oh, like, here's your money, there you go, you know. And everyone's different, and in some instances, like, you're not able to like really do that as much. But
do you set that expectation of communication like during the booking process or prior to booking?
I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, going back,
like, you're upfront, you let them know, here's how I normally handle things. Like, I will talk to you as often as you want to talk to me.
I mean, I don't really think I come off in a way of like, you can talk to me as much as you want or as little. Like, I don't say that, but it's like I kind of just feel out the situation because everyone's different. Another like hot take that I've noticed, like, in the last couple of weddings that I've worked is, and from like my perspective of like working these weddings, I never want to come off in this way, but there is such like a diverse opinion about doing a first look, and I don't know, like, obviously like your opinions might be different, but and it is easier to do one, but when, from my perspective, like, as a bride that did one and still had nothing to, like, really show from me doing that, like, and even when we did it, like, I was only able to see John for, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes. Like, it was just, like, super quick, super rushed, and it just...
Not intimate,
it was not great, and the last few weddings that I have worked, a lot of the brides, like, do want to have like that traditional like see me at the altar, and a good photographer is gonna know how to like manage that. And like there's difference between like knowing how to manage and then being like taking the easy way out, and there have been a few weddings that I've worked where like the photographer is like so pushy on doing that first look, like, we gotta do it, and
no,
I'm like, dude, like,
well, and if it hasn't been determined ahead of time either, like, you can change your mind day of, but it doesn't need to be like,
but if it's
all right,
something
so are we doing it, are we not doing it?
But if it's something that you've already like kind of talked about with your photographer, like, weather like could be an issue and stuff like this. And there was one wedding that I did work where the weather, like, it was gonna be bad during ceremony.
That's you saying you're not certain like what my opinion on first looks are, and I don't have a hard and fast answer to it because every wedding is different, and so all the scenarios are different. Everybody's priorities are different. How long you have your photographer booked for is different. What time your ceremony is in relation to the sun going down. Ceremony inside or outside, like, all of those factors play a part in if a first look is right for you or not.
And I think aside from all of those things that you just listed, like, when a bride is kind of like set on what they want, like they stick with that.
Your role as a vendor is to just fulfill her
stick
wants
with
and
that.
needs.
Yeah, and so there was this one wedding that I worked. Granted, I've worked a few that have been like this, but the weather was supposed to be really bad. I don't know if there was a sun situation or what, but it was like, it's very recommended for you to do the first look so we can get like good pictures like of the couple. Like,
there's no guarantee the weather will still be good enough later.
And the bride was like, I do not want to do it. I don't want to.
Okay.
And we stuck with it, and she ended up, I think the like ceremony or something ran late because of the rain. Like, we had to push it back, and it was outside, so like with the rain, like obviously like people were having to like wait until it blows over. So the wedding ended up pretty much being pushed into the dark, honestly. And she was perfectly okay with having nighttime pictures with her spouse, you know? And it's just like, no one should, especially a bride on their wedding day, like, no matter like how you feel or the way that you think would make it work the best, like, no one should be pushed into doing that, because like for their perfect day, like they haven't envisioned how they want it. And like another thing is like, that used to be something like, as a photographer that is growing, and I'm not like, obviously like I don't know all the stuff, and I'm very, very new, and I wouldn't even be surprised if there's a lot of vendors out there that's like, she should not be doing weddings this early, or like at all, for the matter of like not having like the full. And I don't think any photographer ever like knows all the things. And it's also like,
you should always be growing your craft. Yeah. Doesn't matter how many years you've been doing it.
And I think that like is a big important thing. And obviously like there's always gonna be someone that's better, someone that's more like.
But better from what perspective?
I think just,
you know, like, you can't. Comparison is the thief of joy, and that is a cliche. It's a quote, but it's true. That's why it exists. That's why that quote exists. But we can't compare ourselves to others.
Yeah, and when it comes to that, like, when it comes to like the comparison side of things, like something that I've kind of like learned from myself is like, everybody's like creativity is different. Everybody's editing style is different. Every bride out there like has a different perspective for their day, and whether it be like wanting to go with someone that's budget friendly or whatever. And I feel like every single person that I have on my books for this year alone, like, it's never been about, oh, like, you're a cheaper option, that's why I'm going with you. It's always like, oh, like, your work is so beautiful, like, you do such a great job.
As
you
client,
fit as like
vendor
what you want,
match.
And not everyone is going to be for everybody, you know. And I think that's what a lot of people like need to realize. Like, the people that
are for you
are for you.
Yeah,
and so one of the things that like really has kind of like helped me in that way, because like I am like a newer person, and I feel like the only way that you're gonna like perfect what you have and like make it the way that it needs to be is if you keep practicing. And whether that be like someone booking someone that's only done 5 weddings or like 15, you know, like, it's no different, because everyone starts somewhere.
Right. That's a really good leads me to a really good question, I guess I should say. How do you build that trust with potential clients? Like, during that interview process, how are you learning, yes, this client's for me, or no, we're maybe not a good fit?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing when it comes to that is just from the perspective of like what I've kind of like experienced in the almost 2 years that I've been doing it. Because like I do offer more content. Like, a lot of the stuff that I have booked for this year is content based, but I do have a few that are like, I'm the photographer, you know. And obviously, like, this is another hot take, and I've seen things recently where it's like, oh, but I'm just gonna tell you, I cold message my clients, and I don't like think that that's a bad thing. I think that that is a really good way to not only like build trust with the people that you work with, but to show them like, oh, like, this person, like, isn't trying to, like, not only sell me something in a sense, but they're, like, really, like, intrigued with my day, you know, and I don't
They want this.
Yeah, and that's another thing, like, I don't, when I do, because obviously, like, you see the comments where it's like, oh, like, I sent you a message or whatever. When I message those people that might make posts, like, in the chat or whatever, I don't, like, oh, like, I saw your post, you know, like, this is my stuff, you know, like, I don't come off in that way. Like, I feel like I come off in a way of, like, hey, like, let's kind of chat about your day, you know, like, what do you envision to have, like, for your day as, like, a content creator, as a photographer. And when I do message,
let's connect as people first.
Yeah, and when I do message, I'll always put out there that I am a photographer and a wedding content creator. Like, I do offer both together or both separate, you know, and 90% of the people that I do have on my books are from me reaching out to them. And it might be different for everyone. When you're a stay-at-home mom and this is, like, your full-time income, like, if you're not putting yourself out there the way that you should, like, you never know. Like, I do have people that reach out through Instagram and reach out through my website link, but a lot of the people that I do book are from me reaching out first.
Have you had potential clients who, I guess, struggle with the price point because they are, like, all you're doing is videoing on your phone, like, it's just a Facebook video?
Oh, I've never had anybody, like, come off in that way of, like, being like, oh, like, why do you charge this? Personally, from my perspective, my pricing is a bit lower than what some are. I've never had the people that I have booked.
Or I guess if they're asking about, like, why the price point is where it's at, it's not from a negative perspective. It's just trying to gather a better understanding.
Yeah, I think, I mean, everyone's different, but from my, like, website standpoint, like, I feel like I did do, like, a pretty good job at being, like, descriptive in that way. I've never had anyone be like, oh, like, why is it
I don't
800?
understand.
You know, I have had people where it's like, oh, this is kind of, like, out of my budget. Like, I just don't think that that's what I need. And most of those people,
and thank you for that candidness.
Yeah.
Like,
and most of those people that do say that, like, they want the traditional photographer, videographer, that's it.
Right.
You know, and like I said, like, as the years go by, I feel like content creation is going to be more for, like, everyone. But, and I kind of want to step away from that, like, step away from this. But, like, a lot of people have, like, the outside looking in. They're like, oh, like, this is just for people that, like, do TikTok or do a lot of social media. Like, the people that book wedding content creators are the ones that, like, are very open on social media. Well, I kind of want to, like, take people, like, out of that norm, because at the end of the day, like, that's, like, yes, that's beneficial to those that, like, do that, but at the end, like, it's really for everybody. If you're a type of person that likes memories, and you want memories, and you want something to have to look back on while you're waiting for your pictures, or while you're going on your honeymoon, or just want something to have that's candid and raw and closer than a stage picture or a stage video prompt, this is the way to go, you know. And that's because as a mom, like, I'm always taking out my phone to video Millie, you know, like, I'm always taking out my phone when we're on trips to take pictures of us, you know. And it's like your brain is, like, connected in that way, because you want to be able to look back and have that stuff. And I think a lot of people, like, kind of come at the wedding content industry in a way of, like, oh, like, this is just for people that, like, have TikTok and they have followers and they want content for that. And, like, yes, I do offer unlimited TikTok trends. A lot of content creators don't. A lot of have a max, but, like, if that's what you want to do, like, during your getting ready process, then that's what we're going to do. You know, it might not be ideal for everyone, but, Like, if you see something, you're like, I don't know how to make this. That's the whole reason as to why you're booking someone that does know how.
Right.
Because when it comes to a videographer, you're not going to be like, oh, like, let's take a quick second, video this on my phone really quick. Like, that's just not what they're there for. A lot of the things, like, with the content, like, you look back and you're like, I didn't even realize that happened throughout the day. You know, like, I didn't even realize that, like, I had that conversation with my bridesmaids, or
the groomsman split his pants.
Yeah, you know, and that's another thing that is a very, like, good example is, like, when brides are getting ready, the groomsmen are getting ready too, you know, and you don't know what's going on over there because you're getting ready with your people, you know, with your girls. And that's, like, from my perspective, like, I didn't know my husband was going fishing at the pond, you know, like, I didn't know that they were going
and
out,
those would
like,
have been fun memories
riding
for
on
him
the
to
freaking
have.
golf cart with fishing poles, you know, like,
Right.
I didn't know that that's what was going on, and partly because, for one, like, especially if you're not doing a first look, like, you're not seeing your spouse until you walk down the aisle, so, like, you're going all day without seeing what the person that you're marrying is, like, doing
on their wedding day.
Yeah.
Because you care about them
Yeah.
and want to see how their day was.
Yeah, and I think that's, like, a really big thing, and I've had a lot of, like, the last few,
That's
like,
a great way to look at it.
and a lot of the guys have been, like, very into it. There have been a few weddings where they're like, not really, I'm not really into that, but there have been a few that's like, oh, like, let's make a TikTok with the boys, you know, like, they're very, like, into, like, having those memories too.
Yeah.
And I think that is, like, a big thing that, like, a lot of, like, potential brides and potential clients should really look at, like, outside of, like, having the footage on their phone. Outside of that, like, does your fiance, like, want that? Like, does he want videos with his friends?
That's a great question. What should clients be asking when
Yeah.
they're interviewing a potential content creator?
And it's just, like, and that's another thing, like, when you brought that up, like, maybe I should, but, like, I don't really ask a lot of questions to,
What
like,
do you wish clients asked you
okay,
while they're deciding if they want to hire? Like, for couples that listen to this episode, when they hear it and they're like, okay, I'm going to hire a content creator. Let me listen to this content creator episode to have tips on what I should be looking for.
Yeah.
What should I be asking? What are the right questions?
Just like, I feel like just like with any photographer, like, not every photographer is for one person. That's why there's so many, you know, like, and, like, going into it, like, that was another thing that was, like, really tough for me. Is just like, oh, like, it's so oversaturated. Like, how am I, like, how is my little self gonna, like, fit into this equation? But, like, at the end of the day, like, there's millions of people out there, and everyone's...
Isn't there a quote that, like, blew up, like, when Rihanna started her makeup line? Like,
I have no idea.
Why would Rihanna start a makeup line when there's thousands of makeup lines?
Yeah, because everyone's skin tone type is different.
Rihanna wanted to. Rihanna's product is her product.
Yeah.
Your service is your service. There's a photographer right next to you who offers the same exact thing, who has the same editing style, whatever. Y'all's businesses are still different.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the thing is like, I feel like the foundation really just goes back to, like, the personality aspect. Yeah. Is, like, everyone's personality is different. Everybody vibes differently.
Do you require phone calls?
If they want it. Okay. I like to do, sometimes if they're close, like, I like to do in-person meetings. And like I said, like, prior, like, everyone's different. Everyone feels differently. I have a few people that have booked this year that I haven't really talked to a lot, you know, and every now and then, like, I'll send them a message about, like, something random, you know, or asking them certain things that they would like on their wedding day. But when it comes to, like, just, like, the booking process, I think the biggest thing is the personality. Like, do you click well with the person that you're talking to? Do you think that person, like, values you not only, like, as a paying client, but, like, as a friend? I feel like,
are they going to bring good vibes on your wedding day?
Because as a content creator, like, you're essentially the person that is, like, there behind the scenes. You're not just videoing. You're capturing the raw moments. You're not sitting there being like, oh, like, do this pose or, like, do that. You know, like, you're really capturing how this person acts on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
You know, and so when it comes
Not
to that.
so curated.
Yeah, and when it comes to that, you don't need to hire someone that's just going to be stiff and sitting in the corner with their iPhone, you know, or with
so you need somebody who's going to get in the middle.
with their camera stuff. You know, you need someone that's going to lead just like a photographer would. You don't want a stiff photographer on your wedding day. You want someone that's like, okay, girl, let's get this going. You know, like, we've talked about this for months and months and months, and like, we're ready. You know, and that was one of the things, like, in my mind when I was planning my wedding. Like, I was coming out the aspect of like, who is the most budget friendly. I wasn't thinking about,
am I going to feel good with them on my wedding day?
Who is going to like make me feel confident and feel beautiful and really take charge of my wedding day? Who is going to be there like doing all this stuff plus like some, you know? And
ooh, that's a good one. What little extras do you do for clients that they don't even realize? You are behind the scenes with them anyway, but what are the even more behind the scenes?
Yeah, I think like obviously like the most generic ones is just like, hey, like, do you need anything? There has been like a few weddings, and like obviously like you can go back and look at some of my reviews on Facebook and like see like the perspective of like a past couple and like how they felt. But like, I really go into a wedding day like thinking that I've known this person forever, and it's something like, when you find something that you're passionate about, like, it doesn't feel like work, you know, like, it's exciting, it feels good. Like, when I have weddings, when I have a date that's booked for a wedding, like, I'm like ready to do it, you know, like, I'm really excited. I'm there, like, whether I've talked to you every single day or whether I've only talked to you a couple times, like, it's one of those things where especially with some of the brides that I've had, like, a lot of them, like, I am meeting for the first time that day, you know, like, I do, like, phone calls, I do text and stuff like that, but a lot of the time, like, I'm meeting them, like, day up, you know, like, hey, I'm Bailee, like, I'm the person that you've been talking to behind the phone screen,
right,
you know, and when it comes to that, like, outside of, like, the video, outside of, like, the behind the scenes, like, I'm here to, like, take the load off in a way that, like, another, like, a friend or someone else couldn't. If you're stressed out about your mother-in-law doing something crazy, like, I'm here to listen. If you need to cry, yeah, like, if you need to cry, like, I'm here, you know, like, if you need everyone kicked out of the room because you can't physically tell them, like, I'll do it, you know, and I think that's, like, a big thing. And
being an advocate for them.
Yeah. And another thing is, like, at first, I kind of, like, felt weird about the whole aspect, because obviously, like, there's always people getting engaged. There's always people, like, doing that. And something that really, like, kind of bothered me is, like, you have, like, these friends that, like, are getting engaged and they're getting married and they're, like, not reaching out to you, like, for, like, the booking process and stuff. And after a bit, like, noticing how it was, like, working with someone that I didn't really know and working with someone that, like, say I grew up with, or, like, I've known in the past or have had a friendship with, like, everyone's life is different. Everyone has different goals, different aspects, you know, like, everyone deals with different stuff. And even though there's hundreds of photographers, hundreds of event planners, hundreds of content creators, like, everybody is different, and not everyone is going to be for you, and not every client is going to be for you. But the ones that are supposed to be for you, they will book, you know, and it's not something that you have to beg for, or you have to change your prices on, or you have to be like, I'll give you a discount if you book with me, you know, like, it's nothing like that. I mean, I deliver their stuff before I leave the wedding. It's airdropped. They have it before I even leave. I mean, a part of me does it because I want to, like, be set apart and different, but another part of me is just like, what if something goes wrong in the delivery process? You know, at least they have, like, their footage. So it's just easier for me, and it gives me more, like,
peace of mind
to know, like, they had their footage, it's airdropped. What happens with it outside of that, like, that's on them, you know, but, like,
pull your phone out, let me make sure it's in your camera roll.
You have your stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And, I mean, the editing, the video aspect, like, obviously that's still 24 to 48 hours because it takes time to cut and stuff. But like the whole point of having a content creator, in my perspective, is for you to have that camera roll when you leave, you know? And so I like...
Look at it when you get home and settled for the night.
I like to do that, and then obviously like the video editing is different. But I think like it still comes from the aspect of like there's a lot of behind the scenes that like you don't realize, you know, like you have to cut, you have to put the music or the voiceover to it, you know, like there's like different things that like go into that, just like you would if you were editing pictures. You know, every picture is different, every editing process is different. From my perspective, I know most photographers, this is going to be a hot take that they don't do, but I edit every single one of my photos.
That's a good question that clients should ask.
I put like a base preset on it, but at the end of the day, like, I go through and I edit every single one.
Yeah.
You
know?
Clients
should ask, do you batch edit? Like, is that not a good question to ask your photographer
and
in the editing process?
Yeah, and some people have, like... And the ones that do use a preset, like, I don't know if they just set their camera, like, a certain way and it just ends up working for them. And that would be something that, like, would save me a lot of time. But I'm a true to color editing style. I don't like to put, like, a lot of, like, edit in to my photo. I like it to look the way that it was pretty much taken. I do add like a little bit of like warmth and stuff to it, but at the end of the day, like, I really do like it to look the way that it did when I took the picture, you know. And so I think that's another reason why I do that process, and it does take 10 times longer, you know. But at the end of the day, like, I feel good that like it looks the best that it could. I want the clients that I have to like feel valued and feel seen, and I don't want their stuff to look half done. You know, like, I want it to look like I put my time and effort into it, because you're paying for a service. And God forbid, like, you delete the stuff and they're like, I can't find my stuff anymore, and you're like, well, I don't have it either, sis.
You have that in your contract, like,
yeah,
removing yourself out of that liability.
Yeah, I think I do. But I always like to just go and be like, look, like, just make sure your stuff is safe. And thank God I haven't had that problem with anybody, but it's just like, you just never know. I feel like I'm really just in a place of just trying to like cherish every moment that I have with this, because it's going to look different throughout the years. And 20 years from now, I'm not going to be in the trends, you know, that like a teenager wants, you know? So it's just like, you just never know like how long you're going to be doing it. Yeah.
Like you said, social media or trends are going to change, and social media is going to change. It has evolved so much.
Yeah.
Just in the last year, even. I mean,
which it is,
that's
like,
a great perspective
it is
to
kind
have.
of like bittersweet and like honestly kind of sad, because it's just like, as you get older, like, yes, things change and yes, things are different, but it's also like someone that's planning a wedding, like, they're usually pretty young, you know, and they're going to want someone that is like kind
trendy.
Of like and you know, like 30-40 years down the road, like, I might not be in this position.
It's gonna be, I think it would be possible for you to be, but it's gonna require a lot more work, because those planners and coordinators that have been doing it for 30 years, that are older,
it requires work at the beginning, but like after the wedding, like, it's not really like as much, I would think. Like,
well, they still have to stay on top of what is current. They can't stay in the traditional antiquated ways of how weddings were 30 years ago, because they do always grow and change. So I think anybody, any vendor in the industry, in any section of the industry, can make it a lifelong career, but they have to work harder at it and not be stuck in what weddings were when they began. Yeah. Because weddings are always going to evolve and change.
Be different. So from your perspective, like, do you think that, like, you're going to, like, have this as, like, a long-term career? Or do you think that, like, eventually, like, something's going to change? Or Do you always see yourself doing this?
I do see myself always doing this, but I have always had a long-term goal of eventually having a venue of my own.
Mm-hmm.
And that would take me more out of the role of planning and coordinating, because
you would be doing
you
it
can't
solely
do
for that.
both.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, I do hope that it's a lifelong career of mine. That's a goal.
So with the venue aspect, do you think that is something that is going to take place soon? Do you think that, I mean, from my perspective, I do think that there's a need for it on the coast, especially when it comes to a coastal aspect.
Yeah,
that is something that I do think that is needed. I mean, you have barns and you have this stuff, but you really don't have the beachy coastal feel that people crave when they come down here. And I do feel that could take off and do really well.
I do believe that it would do well. I don't think it's an oversaturated market by any means.
I don't think it is either. I think it is something that everyone, just a photographer and a content creator and all those things, everyone has different needs and wants and different visions, and when it comes to venues, that's the same thing. And even recently, just going scrolling through the groups and seeing what people are wanting in a venue and what they're wanting as decorations and stuff. You're on the coast, we don't have that really here, sis.
Well, I've got
it's really tough.
I've got a couple of
full
service clients right now who are still trying to decide on a venue, and they've toured and toured and toured, and we've gone through so many lists of venues,
and there's only so much.
Well, and they're I like it, it's fine, but
it's not my favorite.
It's not quite right, and so.
And when you feel that way, you don't want them to book something that they're not really happy with. I know from my perspective, we only toured 2. And looking back now, God, I wish we would have toured more.
Same.
And, I planned our wedding in 6 months, and that's just what we did. And now, being in the wedding industry, I'm why did I not look more?
There's nothing like working in the industry.
Well, when we did
to put your own wedding in perspective.
When I hosted my styled shoot back in April of last year at the Creek View, my husband was very, very interactive with that, and he thought he loved it. He thought it was the funnest thing ever. And every time we went to that venue, he was "This place is gorgeous." I cannot believe that we didn't really take the time to understand what our true style was, and there's so much more that goes into that than just being that place is a dream,
right.
There's so much more than just being able to be that place is beautiful, that's it, so I don't know, I really do think the coast really does need it.
So clients that listen to our episode and possibly want to inquire with you, what is the best way to do that?
I would say through Facebook. So my Facebook is Divine Design Company. It has the Instagram and my website linked to it, and also my phone number. I think that's the best way. And if you have Instagram, that's an easy way too.
Facebook and Instagram are both Divine Design
or
company.
So my Facebook is Divine Design Company, and then my Instagram is Divine Design Co.
Okay.
So it's pretty easy. And then, obviously, my phone number and email and stuff. But
and I'll link socials in the show notes.
So that's
and
probably
I'll link
the easiest
website.
Is doing the links. I don't really have a lot of people go that route as much. Not as much as I used to in the beginning. Most of it is through social media.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I'm a content creator. That makes sense. Well, Bailee, thank you so much for talking with me. I think we got a lot of good insight into the content creation world.
We probably got too much insight.
No, never too much. You cannot over communicate. I tell clients that all the time. The more information you can give me, the easier.
It's just easier when they spill the beans.
Yep. Exactly. Thanks again, Bailee.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to The Hitch List. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share your wins and woes. I want to celebrate or commiserate with you. Until next time, where creativity meets celebration and details matter. Want to be featured as an event vendor on The Hitch List? send me a message. I'd love to share your stories and behind the scenes moments.